The VO Meter, measuring your voiceover progress. Whether you're a veteran voice actor, just starting out, or don't even know how to set a level, we're here to help you avoid the pitfalls along your voiceover path to success. The VO Meter is brought to you by Global Voice Acting Academy, JMC Demos, Web Interactive Technologies, Bodalgo.com, award-winning online casting, Roswell Pro Audio, and Vocal Booth to Go. The VO Meter is produced in part using Source Connect, made by source-elements.com. And now, your hosts, Paul Stefano and Sean Daly.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 129 of the VO Meter,
measuring your voiceover progress.
Our guests today are Sam Philyaw and Rob Harrower of Iridescent Acorn Productions, an audio drama production company. But as you'll soon see, our guests today refer to it as audio cinema, and you'll find out exactly why during our interview portion. But before that, it's time for our VO Meter reference levels.
The VO Meter reference levels. Seriously, guys, that's the best you could come up with? Hey, it's your show.
So, Sean, what's going on in your world?
I feel like I've been real busy. Don't know how productive I've been, but busy for sure. I've been prepping that sci-fi audiobook I mentioned a few episodes ago. We actually did speaking of audiobooks, we did a Love to Listen romance/erotica audiobooks workout with our new audiobook coach, Sydney Fulmer, last week. That was really interesting because I'm not someone who thinks that I have a lot of hang-ups, but I've definitely got, as I've kind of explored that genre a little bit more, I've learned more about myself, and it's not like I can't do it, but there's definitely maybe some of the darker, raunchier things I might not be comfortable with.
It's eye-opening, huh?
No, totally. It's really funny. Mm-hmm. No, I remember a long time ago, a few years ago, I was doing my first audition for that kind of content, and the author reached out to me and they're like, "Oh, I like your voice. Can you do a sample from this?" And I tried it and we just went back and forth. And you're like, maybe I'm not the best fit for this. Mm-hmm. But anyways, I really respect people who do that. And Sydney, I thought, did a phenomenal job of putting people at ease and giving them some really actionable tips for doing this genre effectively. So, I mean, you've done those kind of books before, right? I think you've sent me samples.
Yeah, and it was eye-opening for me in a couple of ways. So, first of all, I started out doing mostly male erotica. And people, when I told people this, they would ask me about erotica in general. They would say, "Doesn't it get you excited? Don't you get distracted by the audio?" And I said, "Not for male on male, because I'm not gay." And doing so many of those books reinforced that for me. Not that I was ever questioning or there's anything wrong with that, but I said that doing that genre was not distracting at all because I just had no interest in the content personally. I think I would have a problem if I was doing some male-female erotica, and that would definitely distract me. So think about that if you're trying to tackle these genres. That may be something to consider.
So almost there was a level of professional distance there for you.
Yeah, exactly. It was total performance, never distracted at all, which I think made it easier. I have done some mild female-male romance, and I can maintain professionality, but it just was that much easier when it's something that wasn't relevant to my lifestyle.
Interesting. Very cool. But yeah, the workshop went well. And to my point, we actually had, one of the participants actually opted out before we started reading. So I was like, I don't know if they didn't read the provided scripts beforehand or anything, but they just apologized and they're like, "I'm sorry, I can't do this after all." Mm-hmm. It happens, no judgment. I just thought it was funny that they waited till the workshop to find that out.
I've had a long history of jobs that involved pornography. So I was desensitized a long time ago. It's a bunch of crazy stories, but yeah, we'll get into that a different time.
Coming up next, VO Meter After Dark. So, like I said, that workshop was an interesting experience, but I actually got to participate as well. And so that was really eye-opening. And as someone who has done a few audiobooks over the years, but kind of taking a long hiatus in between, it's kind of interesting to learn how the style has changed. Because talking with Sydney, it's a lot more animated than one might expect. and it moves a lot more quickly than you might think, because I remember the adage a few years ago was like, you have to slow down your narration. There's a cinematic quality to that,
Hmm.
and that still holds. But if we insert too much pausing, if we break up our sentences too much, we have to keep in mind that most people are already listening to this stuff at like 1.5 or 2 times speed. So why not just speak at a more conversational pace so they don't have to do that?
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that was my biggest struggle starting out in audiobooks, is speaking too fast.
Mine too.
One of my first lessons with Sean Pratt was to read a passage, and he had a time in mind, and he said, "I'll tell you how long it should be when you're done." So I sent it to him. I forget the numbers, but maybe my passage was 5 minutes, and he said, "Okay, well, the target was 8, so you
I
need
think
to
I failed
really
that
slow
challenge
down."
too, dude. And I remember I was listening back when we were doing like volunteer projects for Learning Ally, and it was a really great experience because it was like my first official recorded book, but it was for The Giver, which is a book I'm very fond of.
Mhm.
Fond of reading it. I even taught a lesson on it as part of my teaching. But anyways, I was listening back, and there was things I loved about it. I was like, oh, I sound so youthful and full of passion and hope, before the world ground it out of me. And I made a lot of dynamic choices. I did a really good job of like, there was a whole family meal scene, and I did the mom and the dad and the little sister and the younger brother and the main character, and differentiated them well. But I was going a mile a minute. Like, it's just, so it was just a reminder that it's like, again, you don't need to be super slow documentary style golf narration or something like that, but just enough time for people to understand what's happening and how they should feel about it.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
But other than that, it's just been auditions, catching up on stuff. I've been traveling the last 2 weekends, so I haven't been home as much to work on my auditions or longer projects like I usually do. So I feel like today was just a huge like catching up from all the auditions that were sent out on Friday or this morning, and just kind of like, got to get back on the wire.
And doing the podcast too. You're a machine.
That's right. That's right. Well, I'm in good company, so thank you for that. But enough about me. What's going on with you?
Well, speaking of audiobooks, I'm producing a couple of audiobooks for Twin Flame Studios again, 2 at once, which I've been doing for a while now. And they're both really cool, and they both speak to me personally. The first one is called Enough, The High Achiever's Guide to Sustainable Success by Mandy Ballack. And this is all about imposter syndrome and how high achievers, it's never good enough for them. They're always looking to the next project. They never take time to appreciate what they've done. And we've talked about this a lot over the last couple of weeks. It's a big problem for voice actors, so that really speaks to me. And then the other one is called Create Once and Distribute Forever by Ross Simmons. And this is about using content that you already have to put on different channels to get it redistributed, sometimes stuff that's months or years old, as a way to re-engage your audience or gain new followers or likes on your posts across all social media channels. And that's fascinating to me too. And I already have the wheels spinning about what I can do with the podcast to make that happen. So thanks to Ross, because there are some really cool actionable items in the middle of that book. We're not even done yet. And I'm already thinking, wow, this is really going to be cool stuff that I can use for my voiceover career. So thank you to Ross. And then funny, 6 degrees of separation from Paul from Ross. This always happens. But he's in Nova Scotia, Canada, and he's a motivational speaker in addition to a marketing guru. He does a lot of public speaking, TED Talks, that type of thing, and really dynamic. And he looked a little bit like one of my favorite hockey players from when I was a kid, or a young adult, college age, a fellow named Wayne Simmons. He was from the Philadelphia Flyers, among other teams. So I said to Ross, your name sounds familiar, and I know you're in Canada. It's the same as one of my favorite hockey players, Wayne Simmons. And he said, oh my God, that's my cousin. So I instantly made a connection on this project because I happened to be watching the hockey playoffs while we were doing this project, and turns out one of my favorite players is Ross's cousin. So that was cool too.
Crazy. Very cool.
And I've got a couple of, just finished really my announcing season for the spring for college. I got to do the Big Ten softball tournament, which is the conference where the University of Maryland is in. and I did their softball tournament last week, including your Washington Huskies. I announced them twice, so that was cool to do. Not only because they're from the Pacific Northwest, but also my dog is a husky. So actually, I'm supposed to be neutral for these, but I was talking to one of the reps from Washington. I said, I'm supposed to be neutral, but here's a picture of my dog, and he looks just like the logo for the Washington Husky team. So that was cool.
Awesome. Well, at least you're working for the good Washington teams.
Yeah. I found out that mascots have a name, which I didn't know before. So the costume character that a student runs around is called Harry the Husky.
I did not know that. Very original, but
And then they have a live dog, like an actual husky canine, whose name is Dub, like for W, because the big W is their logo.
Oh, gotcha.
And then they
Cool.
just kind of like Georgia Bulldogs. They just, whenever one expires after hopefully, a long life, they have a number. So they have like Dub 1, Dub 2, Dub 3. So I'm not sure how far along they are, but that's the mascot. So I was pretty excited to learn about that. And then at the Naval Academy, I was doing women's lacrosse, and they made it to the finals of their conference and won, and then went into the NCAA tournament, and I got to announce the first round and second round of that on Friday and Sunday of this past week, and they won both of those too. So now they're going to the quarterfinals against the University of Maryland, which is a little bit of a conflict of interest for me, at least in the heart. I'm not actually working this game, but I work for both teams, so I don't know who to root for. And but either way, I'll be excited because they're two of my favorite teams. So that's on the live announcing front. And then finally, something I want to talk about as a discussion point is progressing in your career. And you and I have talked about this personally and a little bit on the last episode about how you're looking to do some new demos. But I've reached this point after 10 years where I'm sort of trying to redouble my efforts to enhance my career. So I made that new demo with JMC that we talked about and played last episode. And I've been marketing it like crazy to some agencies, some management companies, and it's been really interesting. First of all, I was hoping that it would just immediately sign me with agencies.
Yeah.
I guess
That's the hope, right?
yeah, so that hasn't happened, where that did happen 10 years ago when I was first putting out demos to agencies. But I have had some responses. I have an interview coming up with one at the end of the month, which is interesting because I haven't had to do that before. Most agencies either signed me on the spot with an email or called me and said, yes, you're in. And then another one has asked me to submit on the website. I did that. They replied back and said, we're interested. We'll let you know. Then they sent me a questionnaire a couple of days ago asking for more information like social media pages and who else represents me. And they said they'll still get back to me. So that looks positive, but I don't know exactly where that's going yet. And then finally, I submitted to a couple of management companies, one being Celia Siegel Management, CSM, who I've been asking for years to be on the roster. And she said yes. And then I went ahead and reneged on it.
Oh, no.
And here's why. I don't think Celia will mind me mentioning this. She actually said, if things change, feel free to reach out to me, and we'd love to talk again. So there's a cost involved, and I don't begrudge Celia for doing this. Most management companies have a cost involved. It's a monthly fee. I won't say what it is because it might be different for each person. But at the time, and the way my income is right now, I just couldn't justify making that commitment every month. And in addition, right as I was at the deadline to accept, or a self-imposed deadline, really, I told Celia I'd get back to her before the end of April or May 1st, the beginning of May. And my dryer blew up like that day.
Oh, no.
So I had a repairman in the house trying to fix my dryer. I said, you know what? This is a sign from God or whatever higher power you ascribe to. So I emailed Celia right then and said, it's just not a good time right now. I apologize. I know I asked you about this like for years, ever since we first had her on the podcast back in 2016. And then once she said yes, I said, yeah, never mind. Like the worst possible thing you can do as a business person. But Celia remains a friend. And as she said, or as I said, she told me if things change, please feel free to revisit. So I'm wondering what your thoughts are on, because you're in a similar boat, maybe 2 years more in the career, and I know you're talking about the same types of things or discussing them both with your family and internally. What are your thoughts on how to further move your career along at this point?
Well, like I said, we've been talking about it off the record a little bit, and I feel like all careers have their ups and downs and their plateaus and stuff like that. And I feel like in our position, unfortunately, that usually means reinvesting in yourself in some degree. And to your point about managers versus agents, a lot of people don't realize that while they do similar things, there are differences. And very often, managers will take some kind of compensation outside of the commission that an agent would normally work with. Because a lot of people have questions about the differences between these two, where like an agent will negotiate your projects and stuff like that, and they'll give you access to projects you might not otherwise gain access to. But a manager might take a little bit more of an active approach to expanding your career, right? So not just getting you those opportunities, but like actively promoting you to their contacts and stuff like that outside of just the auditions that you submit. So I do think there is a value to that. And I have seen people whose careers have taken off when they chose to have like to get a manager. But like to your point, it can be very easy to overinvest too quickly. And it's important to recognize what your available finances are and to budget for those things accordingly. Why do I bring this up? Well, I had made this decision to kind of redouble my efforts and not just be going through the daily motions of audition, reach out, working with my current clients and maintaining those relationships. But a few months ago, like GVA got asked to go to VO Atlanta, so I decided to take advantage of an X session. When I went there, I had a wonderful time. I felt really emboldened and motivated and recharged. And I came back and we had a wonderful offer from JMC for some demos for an affordable price. So I took them up on that. I noticed my my online casting membership had lapsed, so I decided to reinvest in that. And then between all of those things, I was like, oh, my wallet's looking a little empty this month. So so I definitely had to kind of pull the reins on that. And it just reminds me, like, back when we were starting, when we were training and working towards our demos and websites and all of that, it's really easy to get caught up in that, like, oh, yeah, I'm making progress. I'm training. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm investing. I'm moving the needle. But the thing is like, are you truly investing? Or are you just sending money down a hole, right? So, and you have to, again, be mindful of your expenses and just not to like parse them out infrequently enough that like you're not damaging your, like you can still pay your bills and you're not getting in the way of those other things. So it's just another one of the things that we have to consider because, and this is something that my boss, David Rosenthal, tells people very often when they're trying to get into voiceover is like, do you have 5, 10, 20 grand that you have available to spend on your training, to setting up your home studio, to paying for those demos? Because if you don't, your progress stalls and then it can make the overall experience less effective. So yes, be willing to invest in yourself. Yes, like work with the best that you can afford. But again, just don't do it all at once and be smart about it.
Yeah, that's great advice. And to your point, one way I have mitigated the question, am I just throwing money down a black hole, or how I often say is, do I suck, is to have strong relationships, both in the business, from professionals, and just from friends that are in the business. And that has helped me tremendously. So in this search for the last couple of months, I sent my demo to a lot of people, and I didn't hear back from a lot, but I did hear back from some people I trust in the industry. I sent it to another management company, and that person, this is before I talked to Celia, although I don't know that it matters, and they got back to me and said, this is a really good demo. I really think it showcases your skills. Unfortunately, we just don't have a spot on the roster right now because we have a very small roster, and your voice right now is similar to categories we already have. But that was great to hear because this is a really respected manager who's been making the rounds of the conferences, and everybody seems to like, and I like too, personally. We've talked quite a bit in person. So that feedback was really helpful. And then also Steve Pogach, who works with you sometimes at GVAA as a coach. Same thing. Mm-hmm. I sent him the demo and he said, this is really good. I really like it. And we might be doing something together at some point. He didn't say that, but that's what I'm hoping. So if you have contacts like that who are either friends that you know from the industry or people you've coached with that you trust, email or have them listen to your stuff, and they can help eliminate that imposter syndrome where, like you were saying, am I just throwing this stuff into a well with no chance of seeing a return? Hopefully the answer is no, and use your friends and colleagues to figure that out.
No, absolutely. And again, I'm truly blessed. Like, not only have you taught me a lot about networking, but obviously, like with Global Voice Acting Academy and the podcast, we have a pretty healthy support group of people we can reach out to. I mean, my agent friend Tanya Buchanan of Total Voice Works was the one who was like, "Yo, Sean, those demos don't really do you any favors. You should look into getting some new ones." So that's what started that trajectory. And then I've been trying to, like, whenever our workouts have an opening, I've started to participate in them again on like my commercial auditions, on my audiobook stuff, just because I'm like, it's right there. Why not take advantage of it? And then you actually helped me out before the podcast because I was looking into getting some like processing stacks for my audiobook stuff. And you're like, no, man, that's a simple setting. I just saved you $500. Like, you know? So it's really easy to want to try and solve our problems with a purchase, right? Like I said before, and I think Trish Bassani has talked about this on her posts as well, but it's like, you feel like when you hit that buy now button, aside from that rush of dopamine you get, you feel like you've made that investment. You've done something, right? But it's all like it's passive. It's not the same as, or it's something. It might be something palpable, like a new piece of gear or a coaching session, but it's not as noticeable as the gradual improvement in your reads working with a coach, for example. So sometimes we want that immediate satisfaction, that immediate progress, but more often than not, it's that consistency and going through, or not the motions, but like doing everything you need to each day through your training, through your auditioning, and your networking to truly make progress in your career.
Yeah, that's totally true. And then one more thing, don't forget to talk to your agents, your existing agents, if you have them.
Yes.
Whether good or bad, you want to know what they think. So when I did this new promo demo, I emailed it to all my agents, and all of them came back and said it was good. Lala Lapides from MCVO. Really liked it. In fact, she wants to be a guest on the podcast.
Yes, I'd love to have her.
Because we were talking about the demo, and then she said, by the way, how come you never have it on your podcast? And I told her, well, the main reason is I don't want to bother you, because the second you come on our podcast, 100 people are going to email you demos trying to get signed. And she said, that's okay. I love talking to people. So she was one that said she loved the demo. And then Jimmy Cobble from TAG also said, really great stuff, Paul. You sound great. So while that was great for me, I would recommend doing the same thing even if you get bad news. Because like you said, with Tanya telling you you need to change those demos, you probably knew that already. And her telling you that
I just didn't want to spend the money. It's just, absolutely. But as we sort of transition into our QGPs, I don't think either of us have VO-specific ones, but it does kind of tie into this idea of investing yourself, when to invest, what to invest, and the dangers of not investing in yourself. So, like I said, QGP, not really voiceover related. I'm not going to bury the lead, but
questionable gear purchase.
I got some new shoes. Okay. So why? Because I'd had my current pair, which I've had for maybe 8 months, just wasn't doing it for me. I had arch pain. I had foot pain. I was starting to limp around. It was getting so bad. And I had knee pain and back pain and hip pain. I was like, I need to do something about this. And then I told you before the podcast, but we went to a toy show this weekend. So we were on our feet for like 4 hours. And so I was like, crap, I can't go there like this. So like I ran to the local sporting goods store, like tried on some nice shoes. And again, it was more expensive than I wanted to pay, but like just trying them on in the store, like 90% of my foot pain, my legs, muscular pain was gone. So it's just like, sometimes you have to make those difficult decisions. And again, invest in yourself because you really can't afford not to, right? Like if I had kept going the way I was, I could have injured myself before I knew it. So sometimes you need to invest in yourself, even if it's hard to make that choice.
Yeah, that's something I hadn't thought about. I talked about my problems with my back the last episode, so I'm in a similar situation where I'm still looking for a stand. Our friend Jim Edgar gave me some cool suggestions for what to bring with me. I need something on the road when I'm going to these live announce gigs that I can use that's not going to have me hunched over. So still searching.
Oh,
for
I
that.
know something. I have like a little portable laptop stand that I'll send you a link if it's still available. I think it's called Elephant. Like it's spelled weird. It's like elephant but elf ant, if that makes sense.
Does it have a mic thread?
Not that in particular, but so I see. So you're looking for like an actual stand that will hold your laptop and your mic.
No, not
and
the
all
laptop,
that?
just the microphone. I just need a microphone stand.
Oh, okay. Like, so would a Stage Ninja not work for that?
Maybe that's what Jim was suggesting, something like that clamps onto the desk. So yeah, I'm looking at that as an option.
All right,
But
cool.
like I said, I have some time because I'm pretty much done announcing, except for a baseball team that I'm doing. But it's only a month and a half of games, so it's not that much.
Gotcha.
Oh, I forgot about one more thing from VO meter reference levels. I'm doing a Nationals game, which I just wanted to announce because it doesn't happen that often. So June 17th, if you happen to be in the Washington area, come see the Nationals. It's a 1 o'clock day game versus the Kansas City Royals, and I'll be on the mic.
Heck yeah. Congrats.
Thank you. So for questionable gear purchases, I don't have any voiceover related stuff, but I'm shopping for a car because I think my car is dying, or maybe both of our cars, unfortunately. So I've been driving an old Saab SUV, the 97X. I get stopped all the time because they're so bizarre. Even yesterday, I was getting gas, and some random guy just came up to me and said, "Is that a Saab? I haven't seen one of those in forever." And it's true. They stopped making it in 2007. I think my car was the last one off the line before GM decided to shut down all the production completely. That's when they had bought Saab from the Swiss or Swedish, I forget which one of the S's in Europe. So anyway, I bought it with 90,000 miles, and now I'm close to 155. So definitely got my money's worth out of it. I've driven it to, as you know, and our fans probably know, I live in Baltimore. I've driven it to Cooperstown, New York, to Richmond, Virginia, to Long Island, to Pittsburgh several times. So the car it owes me nothing at this point. I've beaten it to hell. But I'm looking for something else that's probably in the same price range as when I bought that car, although inflation and gas prices are up. So I'm looking at electric as well. Any recommendations? I'd love to hear about it. Tell me on our brand new Facebook group for the VO meter and give me your recommendations for a car in the, I don't know, $8,000 to $15,000 range. Definitely looking used. I'm not looking to buy something brand new. So something in the $8,000 to $15,000 range that might get me around for the next couple of years till all these stupid rugrats are out of college.
Then I can treat myself.
Exactly.
So that wraps up this month's questionable non-VO related purchases. But we're going to be with Sam and Rob right after these messages.
Hey, it's Paul here with an endorsement of Bidalgo. I've been a member of Bidalgo for almost 10 years now. I remember putting in an application when I first started, getting a personal reply from Armin Hirschstetter, the founder, and being blown away by the personal service. Turns out that's just how he runs the business. Honestly, efficiently, and with great customer service. Bidalgo focuses on voice seekers rather than voice talents. Their award-winning online casting finds the perfect voice for every project. There's more than 12,000 professional voice actors, free casting, and it's insanely easy and fun to use. Thanks, Bidalgo, for being a sponsor of the VO Meter. Come on. Not again.
What's wrong, Paul?
Just trying to update my website, but I just don't have the skills.
Or the time?
Exactly.
Why don't you just contact Web Interactive Technologies? They have over 20 years of experience helping business owners create and maintain a professional website. Each website is unique, and you can maintain full control or let Web Interactive update it for you. Web and Tech treats every website like it was their own, and they have the knowledge and expertise to make sure you get noticed by the search engines.
Because, like they say, you can have a beautiful website, but if nobody can find you, it's pointless. Contact Web Interactive Technologies today at webintech.com. That's WEBINTECH.com. Or call 410-777-8500.
Walgreens because it's flu season and you live in a place with doorknobs and handrails and, people.
We tried booking a vacation rental on one of those other websites. They don't always tell you everything.
The stars take it to the red carpet.
We are back live from the red carpet.
California leads the way for change in America, and so does Kamala Harris.
Rated M for mature. Claire Redfield.
And who exactly are you?
So, yeah, what hashtag should I use to describe a grown man in a tuxedo wrestling a goat?
And prior to 1933, many of them belonged to a variety of political parties that were now outlawed in Germany.
This is the story of how Q got curly. Quinn was crazy about curls. Curly fries, curly straws, curly-haired dogs.
Hey, Jay Michael here. Thanks for listening to the VO Meter podcast. It's one of my favorites. If you're looking for a great demo like the ones you just heard, check out jmcdemos.com for more information.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the interview portion of this episode. Our guests today are Sam Philyaw and Rob Harrower. Sam's voiceover brings a versatile and irresistible spunk to every read. Her bright, youthful, quirky, and relatable sound can skillfully capture the tone you're seeking, be it warm, snarky, or mysterious. As a Southerner from Alabama, she can speak authentically in a Southern accent, even though her natural accent is neutral American. And as an experienced singer and lifelong Disney lover, she's known for her self-taught and highly entertaining character voices. Sam is also a producer, script writer, casting and voice director, and she's been crafting brilliant audio cinema with her team at Iridescent Acorn Productions. Speaking of her team, we also have her executive producer and sound design lead with us today, Rob Harrower. Rob has been called a jack of all trades, as well as a Renaissance man, due to his boundless curiosity and diverse interests. A Canadian voice actor and audio engineer, Rob believes that even the smallest acorns hold the potential for the grandest adventures. In addition to his work with Iridescent Acorn Productions, Rob's creative reach extends across the industry as an executive producer at Two Sober Dwarves Productions, audio director for Parker Ross Productions, and audio engineer for Arcane Fiction. He also helps steer the audio drama world as an admin for the 48-Hour Audio Drama Festival. Please put your hands and voices together in welcoming to the podcast, Sam Philyaw and Rob Harrower. Welcome, guys. How's it going?
Ooh, you make me feel so important.
It's kind of weird hearing my own about me section being read.
Right. Someone else listing out your grand accomplishments. But...
Do I really do all that? I don't know.
You did. You wrote it.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing, isn't it? I actually wrote a Facebook post, Instagram and Facebook, just like 2 days ago about this, how I never really think about anything I've done. I'm always pushing forward and trying to find the next thing. But I wrote out a proposal to a company and said, you know what, that is kind of impressive when I see it in writing.
I do the same thing. I never really stop to think about all of my achievements and accomplishments because I'm always like looking ahead to the next thing and what more can I do? And so when I really sit down and have to consider and acknowledge and sometimes even write out what I've been doing, I end up with a whole paragraph. I'm like, damn, did I really do all that?
Yeah, it's funny how that works. So we'll talk about all of our experiences in detail, I'm sure. But first, welcome. I wanted to give my welcome as well to Sam and Rob. And if you could tell us, how did you get started in all of this, voice acting and then production?
Well, thank you guys first and foremost for having us on here. And I appreciate you letting me bring Rob into the mix. He's my wingman for everything. I got started in voice acting technically in 2019, but realistically in 2016 because I never even thought voice acting was a career until I kept hearing the same voices in anime over and over, and I did a little research and I was like, oh, these people actually do this for a living. That's crazy. So I did a little more digging and realized it just kind of clicked with me, like, oh, this is what I want to do. This is really cool, and this calls to me. So I spent 3-4-ish years pretty much teaching myself the industry and the skills. Free courses on YouTube, free resources all over the internet and whatnot. Anything that I could get my hands on and absorb, that's what I did until I could afford coaching and classes in the late 2019, 2020. And then I went gung-ho on it, right? I was pretty much full-time training in 2020 alongside a full-time job. It was a crazy time. But yeah, it was a just a light bulb moment for me of, wow, this is a thing that exists. And, I've always wanted to be a singer, but that didn't really pan out for me. And then voice acting was something that just hit me upside the head. And I was like, oh, okay, guess we're going to try something creative now.
Awesome. And Rob?
I actually came from the stage. I started my acting career in theater, and I actually became voice actor really as a result of audio drama, actually. Very first audio drama I ever listened to was the Black Tapes, and that led me to a number of other ones. But I've also always been a lifelong Star Trek fan, and there were a number of Star Trek audio dramas that I had listened to. And after finishing those, I went searching for more and realized that, well, there weren't really any others that I found particularly good myself. And so I came to the conclusion that, well, if I wanted to create a story that I really enjoyed, I'd have to make it. So that was my entry into voiceover, really also my entry into production, having to create a show from nothing, learning how to audio and what's a DAW? I don't know what a DAW is, learning what that is, learning how to audio engineer, learning how to script write, and then all that good stuff. That's sort of how I entered into voiceover. But yeah, really, ultimately, I came from the stage.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing, guys. And I love how both of you spend ample time learning about how to do all of this stuff before diving headfirst into it. I see all too often people are like, oh, what's the best mic for VO? Even though they have no training, no treatment, and they just want that instant return on investment. Or I don't know what it is, but it's just people don't want to pursue something that can be so unstable as this, but it's just the nature of the game. So yeah, right. I appreciate that you guys have a much more informed decision-making process.
I will say, fun fact, the first microphone that I bought was in 2017, and I practiced my butt off for it before all that coaching, like I said, and I still use that mic today.
Wow. Awesome.
I bought it for $80 on Facebook Marketplace, and it's a musician's mic. It's the CAD GXL 2200.
Oh, okay.
Awesome. Well, if it works, it works.
It works. I've never had any problems with it. It's great.
I'm on my fourth mic, so.
I was going to say, we don't understand. Paul's probably on his fifth mic today, but anyway.
I've crossed over, I think, the Mendoza line, if you're a baseball fan, which is 200.
Oh, my God. I'm more of a reasonable dozen. But anyways, so a two-part question for you both. What areas of VO are you doing the most right now? And are there any that you'd like to book more work in or break into?
I think currently the genre that I most book in is commercial. I've slowly been booking a lot in audio drama other than my own, obviously. So I think that, yeah, it's mostly commercial. I've been doing a lot of political in the last couple of years and audio drama. As for which area I'd like to work more in, man, I've been studying it for just as long as I have been in voice acting, and that would be character, animation and video games. So I would love to book more in those and work more in those genres. But I'm also kind of interested in promo. I've been kind of dipping my toe a little bit and reading up on some resources for promo material for voice acting. So that's one that I'm currently pursuing a little bit until I can get myself back into some coaching for it.
Very cool. I know Paul could give you some advice on that. He's been training up for a promo demo as well.
Yeah, I was waiting for Rob's response on this question, and then I can promote the heck out of our other guests from before.
Absolutely. No, for me, audio drama is what I book the most in. Love audio drama. It is, without a doubt, honestly, my favorite genre in voiceover. But things that I love to book more in, obviously, I am beginning to take commercial coaching, actually. Sam is actually coaching me in commercials as well. Obviously, of course, animation would be a lovely thing to get into, but one that, I'd love to really get into as well is really more long-form narration, so audiobooks, etc.
Fantastic. Well, as Sean said, we can offer advice on all of those things. Not that we're coaches, but if you listen to the show, you might have heard that two of our last three guests were two of the best promo people in the business. It was Jack Daniel and Marie Westbrook. Jack has done things like Pluribus and the promo for F1 with Brad Pitt. Marie is the voice of Bloomberg on all their properties and has done work for Ahsoka and a couple sports promos, many sports promos. So if you're looking for coaching, highly recommend both of them. They don't do it a lot, but they are happy to take on people who they like. And we'll just tell them we like you, and hopefully that'll be good of a vouch for
I
us.
love word of mouth.
Word of mouth is the
You guys
greatest.
have an in.
And then
I thought it was cool
audiobooks,
that-
I was going to say, for audiobooks, I've done about 150, Rob, so if you have any questions, feel free to
Shoot.
ask away.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Rob is such a phenomenal narrator. Like, if
thank
you listen to any of our shows, a lot of them are narrated by Rob.
Awesome.
Well, I'm surprised that both of you guys had mentioned audio dramas as a primary area, because for some talent, they're like, there's a market for that. Like, I've done a few myself, but that's really cool to know. And Rob, I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned you went from not knowing much about the audio stuff to becoming a straight-up sound designer and audio engineer. So how often do you see those skills intersect in your work, and how do they inform it?
Almost all the time. Being a really good audio engineer it really makes you a very disciplined actor. So, but also it makes you a more empathetic engineer as well. So being able to have the two sides of the same coin really gives you an understanding in basically seeing those two different sides. One, of course, being that actor, you want to be able to get the soul of the character out of you and into the universe as well. But being that audio engineer, you want to be able to give that person clean audio, right? I come from a standpoint, when I audio engineer, my standpoint is if it isn't broke, don't fix it, right? Because ultimately, continuing to add FX onto something, eventually it will. Eventually, it's going to damage the audio, right? So, if something doesn't need an EQ, I don't put it on, and so things like that. But I think having an understanding as an actor that the story is always the boss, and the technology is simply just an employee that you use to really inform the story. And it's so for me as an actor and an audio engineer, it really gives me kind of that ability to curate a performance, especially if I'm the audio engineer that's doing it, to what we're doing as well, and that just sort of allows you to really create the best possible thing, I think.
Yeah, I would totally agree. So switching to Sam for a second, we talked a little bit about demos, and your bio mentions that you don't half-ass anything, and this is especially true of your demos. You have over a dozen highly specific targeted demos and spots. What's your strategy behind that, and how long did it take to make all of those?
So, my strategy is, if I have the resources, do it. When I first got my demos, I did a package with JMC, and I did my commercial demo, my first one, and then I did explainer, corporate narration, and medical narration. And I think there may have been one more that I did, and I can't remember what that was.
All at once, all three?
Yeah, like all of them.
How much blood did you have to donate to pay for this?
It did not put me in a great financial spot, we'll say that.
You're not the only one, Sam. I did 4 at once for my first demo record. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was younger then.
I was thinking, well, because I love JMC. He's one of my absolute favorite people. And he's willing to work with you for whatever you do. So I was training with Voice One, and I felt ready for a commercial demo. I felt like I was ready to make one. I just needed a little bit of fine-tuning, right? So I got the opinion from the person that I was going to do a commercial demo with, and she said I wasn't quite ready, but she didn't offer any solutions. I didn't really like that. I'm a solution-focused person. When I went to JMC for a second opinion, he gave me the solution. He said, yeah, I think you're absolutely ready. You just need like maybe 2 or 3 sessions to hone in, maybe not even that, to fine tune it, and then I'll make your demo for you. So I was like, absolutely, let's do it. So we went through it. I booked that whole package that he's got that comes with like 10 coaching sessions. We only used like 6 sessions for all of these demos, and we made a deal. I won't go too far into that, but I ended up with several demos, and they were all banging. And then throughout the years that he's been my producer, I did go to, unfortunately, Lisa Biggs for my first animation and K-12 demos. Realized when that whole thing happened that a lot of my spots were not original and was using other people that did not consent to it. So actually, Rob and I made my animation demo in 2024, and it got nominated for the OPC Award.
Amazing. Good redemption story.
Right.
Fun making
so
that one.
JMC has done all of my commercial demos since then. And really, the thing that puts me to it, like I said, if it's been a couple of years, especially for commercial, because trends change all the time. What buyers are looking for are constantly changing every year, even every month, to be honest. I change up my commercial demo every 2 or 3 years whenever I can. My narration demos are actually the same ones as when I first got, because I haven't felt the need to really change them. They still book work on their own, and they're still top-notch demos, I think. So I've kept them. And then, like I said, I've gotten the new animation demo. And how long it took to make all of those? Probably a few months for each one. When I did the first package, I recorded in, I think, late October, and had all of the demos, I believe, by like February or March, a few months following that. And then generally, JMC gets my commercial demo to me within like 3 or 4 months. Rob had the animation done within like 2 months. So it's a fairly quick process for the amount of work and creativity that goes into it.
Yeah, I was going to say, no, that's awesome. And thank you for kind of like letting us peek under the hood, because I know a lot of people who've been doing this for a while, they might be at that point where they need to invest. And it's really cool to hear someone who's been very thoughtful about their approach. And like you said, if something doesn't need to be updated, then it can be or you can leave it as it is. But if there are things that you want to improve or break, or areas you want to break into, it's good to like work with talented professionals who can help you make it.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, before I get myself in trouble, JMC is a sponsor of the show, and my last demo that just came out last week was also done with him. So I'm not disparaging him in any way. It was more tongue-in-cheek. I think he knows that, but just want to put it out there. And his costs are in no way prohibitive or out of line with the rest of the industry, and they're worth every penny, in my opinion.
This was not a sponsored ad, I promise you guys.
Everyone who has JMC demos, raise hands. Like, 3 hands go up.
I take that.
But
we'll talk later.
But thank you for sharing that. All right, so you were talking about how much love we have for JMC, but I actually met you through another great industry professional named Kristen Paiva, who's a well-known animation casting director and coach. So you were her assistant and helped me schedule her workouts when she was a coach for GVAA. So I'm curious, how did working with industry professionals like Kristen and JMC help shape your career?
Honestly, both of them have been a pillar in my career. Both of them have helped me open doors that I may not have gotten a chance to step through otherwise. Working for Kristen, I learned a lot, of course, as her assistant. So I was kind of like doing a lot of things for her, talking to people that otherwise wouldn't have even looked my way, to be honest. I found that I met a lot of people, and then, during the conferences that I would go to after I started working with her, all of a sudden, a lot of people knew my name. And I'm like, I don't know who you all are. I'm sorry if we've met before. It was a whirlwind of meeting interesting people in the entertainment industry who I really never would have met. People who live in LA, like Swampy Marsh, Dan Povenmire. I can't pronounce his last name, but his first name is King. And he's in Africa. He runs a voiceover conference over in Africa. And that's really cool, because that's kind of really like I want to say it's like pioneering the voiceover industry in that country. It was a really great time for learning and growing myself, as well as watching Kristen grow in her career. She's become such a force. It was great.
That's great. So speaking of collaborators, you're here with your creative partner, Rob Harrower, who we talked to already a little bit, who helped sow the seeds of your audio production company, Iridescent Acorn Productions. And this is for either of you. How did IAP come about?
Ooh, I'll let Rob answer this one.
Okay. Well, I mean, so actually, Sam and I met via TikTok.
Really?
Yeah, we did. So at the time that we had both started our VO career, TikTok was actually a huge venue for newer voiceover artists to meet each other, and it also became a really good venue for practice. And so at the time we were doing a lot of collaborations on revoicing. So you'd take a scene, you'd mute everything in it, and you'd revoice all the characters. And that was really great practice. And that's how Sam and I met. And so we began to do a number of collabs that way. Yeah, we did Anastasia. We did,
The Swan Princess.
The Swan Princess, that's true. We did that too.
I think that was our first one.
Yeah, it was the first one. And we did a My Little Pony one as well. It was great. And from there, Sam had actually already been working on her own single-person audio drama, Dragon Elf, which she did put out. And then it just sort of naturally came about that, we have a number of individuals that we know that are passionate about acting, that are passionate about production, that are passionate about audio drama. We can do this. And so that's more or less how IAP came around. How the name came around was an agonizing process, but the core group that formulated just simply because of a love of acting and audio drama, and that core group is still the same. We've since added more individuals and have a much larger team now, but that core group is still the same.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I noticed on the site that you refer to a lot of your Iridescent Acorn projects as audio cinema. Is that an original term? And if not, why the distinction?
I don't know if audio cinema is an original term. It's something that I started calling what a lot of people refer to as audio drama or fiction podcasts, audio fiction, those kind of things. Because what's the first description that pops into your head when you hear the word audio drama?
Like a radio play or...
Exactly.
Yeah, BBC radio plays, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the stuff that we do is not radio play. It's film without the visuals. It's literally cinema for your mind. So I don't like the term audio drama. Fiction podcast, audio fiction, I prefer audio fiction because a lot of people, when you hear the word podcast, it's you hear like this. You hear people talking about subjects and whatnot.
It does set an expectation. And I notice, for example, on Audible, they refer to like audio drama productions with a higher level of production, audio production. So I don't know, that sounds a little sterile for what it is, I suppose.
Right. And audio cinema, I personally feel like the term audio cinema creates this highly imaginative, creatively free image in your head. Like when you hear audio cinema, a lot of people are going to think film, just audio. Wild. It opens up expectations for what your show can be.
That's right. Yeah, it's the scope of the soundstage, right? So in audio cinema, we're building a physical world, right? So we're using binaural decoders. We're using all of these tools to create an experience for the listener to be able to feel as if they're there, right? We want to be able to treat effects and music and ambiance as much a part of the story as the individual who is speaking, of course. In many traditional dramas, background is often just a backdrop, whereas we want an individual to feel as if they're immersed in the story as well. Traditional drama is, again, it's often recorded and edited for clarity. Now, we definitely want to be clear, of course, in audio cinema, but audio cinema is engineered for impact, right? We want our stories to be impactful, and we want to have those individuals, again, we want them to feel as if they're in the center of the experience, that, when you're listening to Set Sail, no, you're on that ship, right? You're not just listening to something happening, you're with the crew of the Sleepy Siren right there doing it too.
Yeah, we deliver cinematic experiences for putting it in short. And that's what we want you to think whenever you hear what we do.
Full stop, mic drop. I love it. Very cool.
So speaking of creating your own content, we talk about on the podcast a lot about how creating your own content can benefit a creative career as a form of marketing, a way to build industry connections, for example. How has exploring other aspects of production helped you as actors and or creative service providers? Or not?
We can jump straight to the challenges.
No, you're good. Rob, go ahead.
It's such an, because to me, I always think of what Jason Alexander once said when he was talking about production and talking about, being an actor. And in many cases, people can get stuck in the waiting scenario. I'm waiting for my big break. I'm waiting for something to happen. And, we live in a career now and an industry that I think really requires you to go out and do the things, right? Go out and, get the actors, go out and get the tools, go and begin to build your own stories. And so that's, I think, what I see as kind of a requirement now to be in this industry, and one that I think is of incredible benefit to anyone wanting, because of course you get to create the stories you want to hear, and I think that's incredibly beneficial to you. But two, when you are creating your own opportunities, as it were, it gives you access to so many different things that you may not have learned otherwise, right? Or access to parts of the industry that you never knew existed. And so there's an aspect of learning that happens as well that, really, I think, increases your own overall education in this industry.
And I'll touch on that too, because as someone, I don't do the audio engineering, though I have tried, and we're not going to go
We've
there,
all tried, Sam.
But I
help,
do,
Rob, help.
Right. I do a lot of other things. Like, I honestly, I do everything except audio engineering. So creating your own content, as Rob was saying about how being a sound engineer and an actor, how it impacts each other, creating your own content itself, it's going to teach you the other side, right? So an actor who's only ever acted doesn't have the insight that a casting director has, or a voice director, or a producer. I've learned a lot by being a creative director and a producer of our own shows. It's a lot of work involved. It's a lot of herding actors a lot of the times, because I like to do group sessions. That's how you get the best reads.
Mm-hmm. God bless you, but God, it is like pretty cast.
It's scheduling. It's creating systems. I love creating systems, by the way. Organization is my jam. And I feel like a lot of people, they've come to me during our shows and has been like, I so appreciate how organized you are, Sam. And I'm like, you know what? Thank you, because I put a lot of effort into that. But I think creating your own content, it helps you, first of all, be able to be more confident in yourself and your skills. It introduces you to new people, new experiences, new personalities, and you do have to figure out how to communicate with people in the language that they understand. Not everybody, even though someone may speak English, the same English that you speak, they don't speak it in the same way. And you have to learn the other person's preferences. You have to learn their own internal dictionary and how they listen and all of those things. It's so very important. And I feel like it's this creating my own content has helped me learn more patience. It's helped me be more disciplined, more patient, be able to give more grace, more understanding. And overall, it's helped me learn that I can do anything.
Totally understand. And you're preaching to the choir for the most part. I started this podcast with Sean within 6 months of starting my voiceover career. And it was a really stupid idea, because I didn't have any.
I know. I was like, what the hell do we have to talk about,
Well, aside from that, I had no idea what I was doing technically, or all the people skills you said about booking, scheduling. It was all a mess in the beginning. I mean, we persevered, and I learned so much just by doing the podcast for the last 10 years.
No, absolutely. Like learning production on the fly. I mean, both of you mentioned how sort of empathetic it makes you of production teams, because it really is controlled chaos for the most part. And again, from an acting standpoint, if you're writing and directing this stuff, like, you understand the story and characters better than anyone. So brilliant response. And it reminds me of Marisha Ray once said in an interview that acting jobs are finite. And so you kind of, if you want to have any longevity in this industry, or it's many disparate industries that all deal in spoken word audio, you need to be comfortable sitting in the director's chair, or like filling in that producer role if someone else, if no one else is volunteering, because otherwise you're just saying no to opportunity.
Absolutely.
The better of a floater you can be in this industry, the better off you will be and the higher you will get.
Absolutely. Plus, it's like a squirrel, right? Ooh, what's that? What's this? Oh, that's cool. I want to do that. Look at this.
Well, that's another thing I noticed from both of you is the curiosity about all these different aspects and the willingness to explore and suck for a little bit until you get your bearings.
It is
heavy emphasis on the figure it out.
Nice. God.
Absolutely. You only suck if you do stuff. You don't suck if you don't do anything. So do stuff.
Yeah. I like that.
I like it. So we ask a lot of our guests what sort of the future of voice acting, and in this case, audio cinema, might be like. Now, obviously, nobody knows for sure, but do you guys think that AI is still a threat, or is work like what you guys are doing a sign that people are fed up with artificial slop and we hunger for more human-made media?
Down with AI.
Down with our AI overlords.
Look, AI has no business in human-made media. I don't think anybody is, at least in the audio cinema genre industry, I don't think any actor, any creative really is at risk of AI taking over. We can hear it. We crave human authenticity, the human experience. And although AI has come a long way, and sometimes it's difficult to tell, the more you listen to it and the more you listen to human-made stuff, there's a big difference.
Absolutely. And I can only agree with that. I was just listening to the other day a new audio drama that I'd found. And halfway through the second episode, I'm like, something's really off on this. And doing a little bit of research, completely AI made, AI voiced and everything. And again, absolutely, you can hear that, right? Mm-hmm. There's nothing like the human quality, and humans crave being around other humans, and we want to hear that too. If you're just hearing a computer speak, there's something really empty there, and we want to be able to be human, right? And be awesome human. There you go.
Indeed. And humans are awesome. We want to hear awesome.
Any of the actors that have ever worked with me can tell you how dedicated, we'll say, I am to isms. Humanisms. Any session that I am in, any direction that I give, at some point I'm going to say, give me more isms.
Realism.
Can you elaborate? I mean, I know Ferris Bueller knows what you mean, but...
So isms, especially in the audio-centric world, because it's got to be a little bit enhanced, right? You're 20 years old and you get up from a chair, you're not going to make that sound. But in audio, yes, you are, because otherwise people don't know what you're doing. So it's that kind of thing where we're going to add those little efforts that you hear on an everyday basis that you don't really think about. That sigh whenever, like when you first start speaking and you're maybe a little tired or agitated, or like a tick, like what I just did, where it's kind of like you're sucking your teeth and you go like a tisk. Little things like that. If for the Bells and Lilac, we put Rob and I edited the script, right? And we put in so much SFX, and we put in every single walla that is needed, all of the efforts that are needed, which I also call isms efforts. So
I've already said sorry to our audio engineers. I've already apologized to them.
Activism.
Some of the efforts, there will be like a jump or like a swing of the blade, anything like that you won't get with AI.
Absolutely. Again, these are just things that enhance that cinematic experience, that cinematic feel that you're listening to. And again, in audio drama, all you have is that audio, and you need to be able to use that, 110% to create that wonderful physical world that you can really feel a part of when you listen to those stories.
Yeah, I think the only AI efforts they have now are those weird canned breaths where it's like it's just so out of place, and it's just,
awful.
But I wanted to comment, Rob, where it's just like, I'm so glad that there are eagle-eared people out there who still, their spidey sense goes off when they hear that. Because I know for me, like I might be enjoying, like you see it on YouTube all the time for especially like listicles or nostalgia articles and stuff like that. I was like, oh, I was enjoying this until I realized what it was. And it just retroactively takes all of I just click on something else because I want to vote with my like internet wallet data, I guess you could say.
Absolutely. It just ruins the experience, right? And of course, I said, well, I guess I'm not going to listen to the rest of this because I want something human. I don't just want to listen to data.
Yeah, the connection has been lost. I mean, no offense to Brett Spiner. He's a wonderful...
Oh, you mean we're talking Star Trek data?
Okay.
I love that data. Longtime Star Trek fan here.
Awesome. They've got a great podcast, too, him and Jonathan Frakes, called Name Drop, I believe.
I know.
Well, it's nice to hear some positive outlooks on the future. Sometimes we get some doom and gloom, but I really like the way you framed it and how going forward the human aspect of acting should still be valued, and I agree. Well, unfortunately, Rob and Sam, we've come to the end of our time. This has been really fascinating. I'm so glad we were able to get you on, and especially as a pair, and talk about your experiences not only on your own, but also with Iridescent Acorn Productions. So thank you so much for being here. Before you go, where can people find out more if they want to work with you as a voice talent or as a production team, or support your latest production?
So, for me, you can find me at samphilyaw.com for my voice acting. For Iridescent Acorn Productions, we do, obviously, audio cinema. We've also started offering coaching, yours truly, or demo services, or like individualized stuff as well. So we just want to engage and offer back to the community. And you can find us at iridescentacorn.com. Rob?
Absolutely. And if anybody wants to find or follow me, it's Rob J. Harrower, and you can find me on Instagram, as well as just finding me as well on iridescentacorn.com too.
Well, again, thank you both so much for being on the podcast. I love learning about the work you're doing through IAP, and I hope to hear more soon. And if you need voices in Paul's or mine type, let us know.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, Sean, what's a vocal booth?
It's an acoustically treated space to record voiceovers, sing, or practice music.
Okay, so then what's a vocal booth to go? An acoustically treated space to eat a cheeseburger and fries?
No, of course not. Vocal Booth To Go's patented acoustic blankets, noise mitigation products, and portable booths are an effective alternative to expensive soundproofing. They're often used by vocal and voiceover professionals, engineers, and studios as an affordable soundproofing and absorption solution.
And now, check out the new Fab, the folding acoustic vocal booth, also known as the Highlander. It's an easy-to-set-up and carry with you travel solution for recording great voiceovers on the go. Check them out at vocalbooth2go.com.
How many times has this happened to you? You're listening to the radio when this commercial comes on, not unlike this one, and this guy starts talking, not unlike myself.
Or maybe it's a woman that starts talking, not unlike myself, and you think to yourself, geez, I could do that.
Well, mister, well, missy, you just got one step closer to realizing your dream as a voiceover artist, because now there's Global Voice Acting Academy. All the tools and straight-from-the-hip, honest information you need to get on a fast track to doing this commercial yourself.
Well, not this one exactly.
Classes, private coaching, webinars, home studio setup, marketing and branding help, members-only benefits like workouts, rate and negotiation advice, practice scripts, and more. All without the kind of hype you're listening to right now. Go ahead, take our jobs from us. We dare you.
Speak for yourself, buddy. I like what I do.
And you will too when you're learning your craft at Global Voice Acting Academy. Find us at globalvoiceacademy.com.
Because you like to have fun.
And we're back. Thanks so much to Sam and Rob. I really enjoyed editing that interview, which is how I listen to things because we haven't put it out yet. But I really liked how they talked about how the producing that they're doing has informed their voiceover work. And we talk about that all the time. That's the whole reason we do this podcast these days, is because it helps us practice what we do every day on the mic for auditions and jobs. So that was really eye-opening. What did you think?
No, absolutely. I mean, we've often heard or talked about the importance of making your own content, both as a way to kind of understand the production aspects, but also to promote yourself as a form of marketing. But we don't always see what that looks like. So it's really cool to see this team of creatives who are making these really compelling stories. And I love this idea of audio cinema that they've created. So I've done a number of audio dramas myself. It's one of my favorite genres because it reminds me the most, or it's this wonderful marriage of like character acting and audio books and almost stage acting as well. So I'd love to do more projects like it, maybe even with IAP. But it was great having
Hint,
you both. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But anyways, I just thought we were kindred spirits and like-minded individuals. Thank you. So hire me. But again, Sam, Rob, thank you so much for being on the podcast. We had a blast.
So that wraps up this episode of the VO Meter.
Measuring your voiceover progress.
Coming up, we have an embarrassment of riches. We've never been booked out this far in advance before, but already in the can, and we're working on the rest of the features. We have Casey Hott, who is a great voice actor and co-hosted the Reed Awards with me. I think we've talked about that. And she is also recently nominated for a One Voice Award, so we'll be excited to talk about Casey and how that happened. Then we have Priestley, who is a DJ and one of my friends from college in the same circle of people we've talked to over the last couple of months. I kind of forgot I had all these famous friends. So Priestley was also on Sirius XM Radio. He was one of the national hosts on several of the channels there. And then he was a drive time host at one of the biggest stations in Baltimore. And now he's working at probably the biggest station in Baltimore. So we'll talk to him about radio and how that relates to voiceover as well. And finally, we're efforting to schedule Ted McAleer, who I just found out is a retired voice actor. I didn't know he had hung up his shingle, but he told us that he just did his first audiobook after all these years of doing other work, and he wants to talk about the struggles and how difficult it was. And I'm interested to hear that from a newbie who's also over 60. that should be interesting.
Yeah, Ted was incredibly helpful. He answered so many questions when I was learning about voiceover, like a lot of gear stuff, but also mindset. So I'm looking forward to having him on the podcast.
I should say, I don't know that he's over 60. I'm guessing, but if not, sorry, Ted.
You look wise and experienced. All right, guys, that's this episode. You'll hear us in the next one. Thanks for listening to this episode of the VO Meter. To follow along, visit us at www.vometer.com.
We'd also love to hear your comments or suggestions for the show. Or if you have a questionable gear purchase, tell us all about it on our Facebook page or on Twitter at the VO Meter.